I'm Joe Duffy, CEO of PicksDepot.com. What a phenomenal run we're on overall as I do file this report. It is a 16-3 run, and that includes opening weekend in college football, well, the official week one, that is. Went 6-1, and of course, that's why I'm called the football specialist. Make sure you go to PicksDepot.com and lock into a very long-term package, specifically the full season package, which has been reduced. I know a lot of you got a lot of new clients. Some of you already invested money on a short-term package that expired. So I have discounted the full season package to take into account for that. Or those of you who are in the outside looking in, you can still save money on the full season package. You've missed out on our spectacular start so far, but you're going to pay a little bit less than those of us who have been on the bandwagon from the beginning. Let's get to it. All records are against the spread. This report, of course, goes back to the old scorephone days of the 1980s, and I've been doing it since 1988, the famed Tailgate Party. Illinois and Virginia, all records are against the spread. Fighting Illini 9-20 versus a team with a losing record. Virginia 6-1 their last 7. They're 11-2-2 after scoring more than 40 points in their previous contest. Pittsburgh and Tennessee, two upstart teams maybe. The Johnny Majors Bowl, I guess. Panthers are 7-2 outside the conference, but they are 2-6-1 following a win of 20 points or more. Meanwhile, the Vols are 4-10 as home underdogs, 6-19 following a straight-up win of more than 20 points. They are 1-5 against teams with a winning record. Miami of Ohio and Minnesota. Miami, Ohio, 6-1 on the road against teams with a losing record. Minnesota, of course, with Ibrahim out, their season may have fallen off of the tracks or whatever the saying goes. I don't want to mix my metaphors. Golden Gophers are 20-8 following that straight-up loss. Oregon and Ohio State. The Oregon Ducks are 7-16 in the month of September, 1-7 as road underdogs. Meanwhile, Ohio State 17-8 after getting more than 200 yards rushing in their previous game, but they've dropped 5 straight home games against teams with a winning record. Subscribe to us on Twitter at PicksDepot, if you have not already. Tulsa and Oklahoma State, the big in-state rivalry. Tulsa 13-3 after scoring less than 20 points in the previous game. They are 21-7 following a spread loss, 27-11 on the road, yet they're 2-10 after allowing less than 20 points in their previous contest. Oklahoma State 16-5 outside the conference. They're also 16-5 after accumulating less than 100 yards rushing in their previous contest. 2-6 overall skid. Wyoming and Northern Illinois, the Cowboys are 6-0 following an ATS loss. They are 1-5 after allowing less than 20 points in the previous game. And Northern Illinois, they are 6-1 after allowing more than 200 yards rushing in their last game. 1-6 following an ATS win, and 1-8 at home versus a team with a winning road record. Yeah, I was diagnosed at one time with some neuropathic itching, so you should probably take a drink. You drink beer, and every time I scratch myself, insert your own joke, maybe you ought to take a drink. It'll be a good drinking game. Florida and USF, they ought to take bets on the over-under. The Gators 7-2-1 following an ATS loss, but they are 1-5-1 overall. And their rivals from South Florida, 19-7 after allowing more than 40 points in their previous game, 5-11 at home. Toledo and Notre Dame Rockets are 10-3 after allowing less than 275 yards passing in the previous game, 16-5 after allowing less than 170 yards passing in their last game. However, the Rockets are 0-7 after allowing less than 20 points in the previous contest, and 0-6 as road underdogs. Notre Dame 7-1 against teams with a winning record, 4-11 after accumulating less than 100 yards rushing in their previous contest. Buffalo and Nebraska. Buffalo 8-0 after accumulating more than 450 total yards in their previous game. They are 6-2. They're 10-3 as an underdog, 6-2 after accumulating more than 200 yards rushing in their last game, and 7-3 following a spread victory. UAB and Georgia, possible letdown situation for Georgia, to say the least. If you're a big believer in letdowns, how would you not bet against them here? But the Blazers of UAB, 19-9 after accumulating more than 450 yards total in the previous game. But they're 0-7 following a straight-up win of more than 20 points. We'll talk about a letdown, although I don't think they should have a letdown here. The Bulldogs are 11-4 at home following or versus a team with a winning road record. Temple and Akron, the Owls 47-17 after allowing less than 170 yards passing in their last game, but they're 1-5 after accumulating less than 275 total yards in their previous game. Akron, they've just been overall atrocious. 16-35 at home, 5-17 after getting less than 100 yards rushing in the previous contest, 5-22 on field turf. Again, brought to you by PicksDepot.com, Texas A&M and Colorado. Texas A&M 14-3 outside the conference. They are 9-3 following a straight-up win of 20 points or more. And meanwhile, Colorado is 8-3 after allowing less than 275 total yards in their previous contest. Air Force and Navy, or as my old cohort Oscar Dooley would like to say, the Air Force of the Navy. The Falcons of Air Force 14-3 following a straight-up loss of more than 20 points. They're 21-8 outside the conference. 4-10 though as a road favorite. 1-8 on the road versus a team with a losing home record. Navy 7-2 following a spread loss. 1-5 off a double-digit home loss. And let's see. Let's continue with more. And again, follow us at Picks Depot. Iowa and Iowa State, arguably, maybe the best game of the weekend if you're a hardcore college football fan. Iowa 6-1 overall, not necessarily from a gambling standpoint, but from a watching standpoint. The Hawkeyes also 7-2 outside the conference, but 1-8 or 1-7 their last 8 as a road dog. How many is that so far, by the way? Iowa State is 3-8 outside of the conference. Houston and Rice, Cougars of Houston, 11-3 on the road versus a team with a losing home record, but they're 5-15 on field turf. Meanwhile, Rice is 20-8 after allowing less than 170 yards passing in the previous game. However, 3-9 at home against teams with a losing road record. NC State and Mississippi State. NC State is 5-1 on grass, but they're 3-10 on the road, 1-6 after allowing less than 20 points in their previous contest. Continuing with PicksDepot.com trends, Tennessee and Arkansas, or Kansas. Longhorns 3-7 following an ATS win, 2-7 after allowing less than 20 points in their previous game. Arkansas 8-2 versus the Big 12. 17-8 at home versus teams with a winning road record. 2-8 after allowing less than 100 yards rushing in the previous game. And 1-7 after allowing less than 20 points. 0-8 following a straight-up win, though, of 20 or more. So they're not very good off of a blowout. Eastern Michigan and Wisconsin. By the way, I got more for you. I got more for you coming up. But please like, share, comment, and subscribe to our channel. I will answer any questions in the comments section. I'm going to come back and take a look at it, but we really do ask you, if you're on Twitter, please share this. I would greatly appreciate it, and it's really your way of saying you want more of this stuff. You may know a couple of years we went up having to rebuild my YouTube channel. Don't even want to talk about it. But anyway, Eastern Michigan and Wisconsin. Eastern Michigan 20-5 as a road underdog. 16-5 following an ATS loss, 19-7 outside the conference. They're also 8-21 after allowing less than 20 points in the previous game, that on Eastern Michigan. Wisconsin 7-1 to the MAC, 0-6 following a straight-up loss. Missouri and Kentucky. Tigers are 3-10. That is, the Missouri Tigers, the different kind of cats in Kentucky. 3-10 after allowing more than 450 yards in the previous game. Missouri, we're talking about. They are 0-5 against teams with a winning record. Meanwhile, UK, 12-4 at home, but 4-14 after getting more than 280 yards passing in their previous contest. By the way, who is the best at synthesizing these trends? Stevie Vincent, and his picks are on picksdepot.com. Washington and Michigan, kind of an early Rose Bowl preview. Well, not really, but the Huskies are 3-7 after allowing less than 170 yards passing in their previous contest. 1-6 as a road underdog, 1-8 overall as an underdog. Michigan 1-10 to the Pac-12. Vanderbilt and Colorado State. Commodores 7-16 overall run, 1-6 outside the conference. Stanford and UCLA. The Cardinal 3-8 as an underdog. USC is 5-12 in the month of September, 4-11 after allowing more than 280 yards passing in the previous game. Again, visit picksdepot.com before ever placing a bet. Picksdepot.com, and make sure you follow us on Twitter @picksdepot.